Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for a Mystery Mystic reading. We're exploring the disappearance of the Patanela Yacht that disappeared roughly on November 8th, 1988. This yacht, it was a 75-foot schooner. It looked like a beautiful vessel, and it was described as unsinkable, okay? Now, the people who disappeared were Captain Ken Jones, his wife Noreen, and two young deckhands. I mean, we're talking early 20s, like 21 years old, John Bliss and Michael Calvin. So on October 16, 1988, the yacht set out from Fremantle bound for Queensland to be delivered to become a tourist charter ship, and for that particular region of Australia. And the boat was equipped with the latest technology. It had color radar. It had been refitted, as well as it had something called anti-collision on it to prevent it from, sustaining maybe major damage that could happen from colliding with other vessels, right? Larger vessels. And what was so interesting about this case was that the two deckhands penned a letter and placed it in a bottle, a Bacardi bottle. And it wasn't until New Year's Eve of that year that it was found, the bottle was found clear on the other side of where the ship was last known to be. And they had basically gave a prize to whomever would find this particular letter. And they left their two phone numbers on there. So if you claimed the prize, you could win a week with them to this particular destination that they planned to be at. And also, one of the deckhands had wrote his twin sister describing how excited he was about the future, about him and the other deckhand going into business to charter boats themselves. And so they were very much looking forward to the future. Now, one thing I do need to mention with you is that Ken, that's the captain, faced financial issues. And there was information I came across that the boat may have been facing repossession. And he also had made some interesting choices during this voyage. For example, he powered through, is how they described it. He used his motor predominantly for the duration of the trip, when normally you would use your sails and turn the motor off. The reason why this is even more interesting is because it sounds like he believed, according to one of the radio calls, that he was running out of fuel. And yet he's powering through. And the other thing was he had called to obtain $500 to get fuel. And every time that they had stopped, it was like a couple of times they stopped on the trip to get provisions and things, and they never got fuel. So it was just some interesting choices that were made on those moments leading up to the disappearance. And so, yeah, we don't have much. There's not much remaining in terms of evidence of what happened. And people do have their theories, and I'm curious to hear what yours will be, especially after you watch this reading. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's get to it. Right now, we are tapping into the energy surrounding what may have happened to the Patanela, and in particular, what happened to Ken Jones, the captain, his wife Noreen, and the two young deckhands, John Bliss and Michael Calvin. So we're going to do this opening oracle reading just to see what are the energies surrounding the disappearance. What Spirit can reveal to us about the actual disappearance, or what is Spirit prepared to share with us about that. always interesting to hear your insights. Every one of you always shares some really great insights. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so we got fetus. We have rat. We have skull. Yeah, I know there's rumors about them possibly, starting new lives, but this affirms here over the water card, the skull over the water, that I sense that they met their demise in the, as a result of drowning. Okay. I'll zoom in as I do so we can see. Sorry for the glare of that card, the skull card. But maybe that's best so you can't see it too clearly. It can be kind of scary. All right, Spirit, what would you like to share? And you all might hear my mouse clicking in the background. That's me toggling through the pictures of the captain and his wife, and then the two deckhands, as well as looking at the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, like for some keywords that stand out to me that I think are applicable. All right, so we start off with the fetus card. This is about new beginnings, new responsibilities, developing possibilities. So there was a new beginning upon them. They all had something to be excited about. Now, I do sense that this might be speaking about even just the deckhands, like the deckhands, John and Michael. They were embarking on this new journey. They even wanted to do something, in terms of chartering boats once they were done with this voyage. And so there were new beginnings at hand. I know that Ken Jones, the captain, was under immense stress, financial pressures, but the boat was going to be, and maybe that could have been part of the problem now that I think about it. The boat was going to be released so it could be used as a charter boat. But then I was getting conflicting stories about like his son knowing about the boat potentially being repossessed. And so what wasn't clear to me in all that I've read so far about this case is, it was the repossession before this voyage, or did he learn of it during the trip and he's calling back and forth to his son, and his son says, hey, I heard that the boat is going to be repossessed. I don't know. It's not clear to me. If you all know that answer, please leave it in the comments section. So, new beginnings, something about to be birthed, something, growing when you see the fetus, something having a gestational period over time. The rat card is interesting to me, okay? Because it represents a traitor or untrustworthy person or a disease. And, it will remain to be seen if this is someone who is a stranger to these four people, or if this is someone outside of the crew, the four occupants on the boat. But there was a rat amongst them, or came near them, and wanting to get rid of this diseased issue. So it could also just be speaking to an issue that the only escape, the only true new beginning was to die or to perish. The Sage card. What can Sage tell us? This is about purification, trying to purify the situation. Sometimes I refer to a word like that as remedy, trying to remedy a situation. And it's sitting next to this diamond card. So I want to look and see what this is about. This is of something of value. A promise. It also can represent enduring love, but these two cards are about purity, about a situation, for all intents and purposes, was starting out very much a voyage. Everybody who was on that particular boat had pure intentions. Something betrayed them, something that was a traitor, someone who was a traitor, something that was designed to protect them didn't. This also could represent someone having death on their mind, okay? Thoughts of feelings of mortality is what one of the key phrases here is. It is. This is about an end of a cycle, and the act of dying, and in death itself. So that's what the skull card represents. Some sort of situation that betrayed the persons on the boat, led to them succumbing in a watery grave here. Again, all of these cards are about purity. There's just one person, one entity that is not. And we're going to dig in to see, because what I'm sensing here is that, if people were thinking it was a mechanical failure, I don't sense it was a mechanical failure. I sense that someone who had a duty to protect these interests, even the financial interests, failed to do so. Mysterious feelings crossing the rat. What did this rat have mysterious feelings about? Well, we can see here with the trifecta, something of value here. Something of value. Yeah, I'm not getting like a mechanical failure. And I'm just going to pull 1 to 3 cards here to see if we can dial in any further about what are we dealing with here. Yeah, pillar, medical kit, smoke and mirrors, I think of. And I say that because you have the smoke here and the mirrors. Let me zoom out so you all can see them a bit better. So the first card we got was pillar, okay? Then we have medical kit and smoke. A pillar. I mean, like I said, when I saw this card, I instantly thought of someone that we look to as a pillar of strength, someone who is at the helm of the ship and leading it. Maybe this person needed some sort of medical attention with the medical kit card. I wanted to look at the little guidebook here and look to see if there's any other keywords we want to talk about with the pillar, for example. Of course, it's not standing out. Of course not. Solid, sturdy, dependable, the backbone or foundation, support system. That was in disrepair. Also, the support system also of the backing of Ken Jones, the captain, maybe financially. That was going up in smoke. He was able to get $500. I don't know if he was borrowing that money, but during the trip, that when on one of their stops, he made a call to get $500 for fuel costs. And whomever was giving him that money gave it to him. I think it was the person who actually owned the boat. I'm not sure 100%. So we would need to double check that information. However, he was able to get it, but guess what? He didn't use the money for fuel. They got up, some other items, but they didn't get any fuel. And why is that? You are aware that you need fuel. Ken Jones, the captain, was seen as, oh yeah, that's right. They were getting provisions, additional provisions, no fuel. But Ken is seen as the pillar, the backbone, right? The foundation, the medical kit, someone needing medical care. And medical care can also mean just needing some care, period, or it could mean mental care or something going on with the physical body. So it could be about the body and or the mind. Something happening medically causing the mind to falter. Okay, things very smoky and cloudy and uncertain. Yeah, I wanted to see the smoke because I'm still here, just thumbing through, looking at this little book. Well, to me, oh, here we go. And I do need to read this to you. It applies significantly. Smoke, obstructed view, bad weather, uncertainty, short fuse, confusion, illness of the lung, a cold or sickness. Something going on with the pillar, the captain. He wasn't well. He wasn't well. He needed some sort of medical care. And the other occupants, the crew members and his wife probably didn't know, or maybe they got signed. Maybe as the trip progressed, they were getting clues that something was off. I'm sensing it here that there were conversations on the boat where the deckhands were insisting that he would make these calls, these radio calls. And I don't know if he necessarily wanted to. I don't know if he necessarily wanted to make them, but he did. Yeah. Wow. Okay. We got emotional blackmail. I was just shuffling. Let me scoot us back. Oops, sorry guys. Taking you on a ride. As I scoot back. Okay. Emotional blackmail. What else? Biased. Anxiety, great anxiety, and not just for the captain. I feel like the captain wasn't, I mean, there was the anxiety of the financial pressures, but I don't know if the captain, from what I'm tapping into as I'm gazing into my crystal ball, I don't know if the captain was, I don't know if he was aware. Defiance. What I'm sensing here with this card is there was defiance here. And defiance in terms of, you know, the captain becoming very, very belligerent, very defiant as things started to become very uncertain, very unclear, very confused with this smoke card, acting in a way that just was not what you would expect from a well-seasoned, well-experienced captain. And so there was a sense of defiance, like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. What was interesting also was that if you're running low on fuel, one would think that you would use your sails and have those extended. Instead, from what they could tell was that the boat was powering through, using the motor, using all the fuel. So what was that about? What was that about? Could this card even mean that maybe there was a fire set towards the end with this sage? Brutality. And also, before we move on from defiance, I do sense that the captain could have felt like there was defiance happening amongst ranks of the two crew members that he had. That, you know, that they were not listening to him, in the state of confusion, in the state of unwellness. You know, he's emotionally blackmailing. He feels emotionally blackmailed. Maybe even the people closest to him, those who work with him or had to do business with him, as well as his family. It was something going on with that. Biased, having heavy biases. I'm not quite sure, you know, maybe there was a heavy bias towards him having it all under control, and he doesn't. Maybe he holds bias, you know, the bias of, you know, trying to make things look as such that everything's put together, and it's not. I'm not quite sure how bias came in. I mean, there's always a certain bias that you carry. Maybe this is also conversations of what the deckhands were saying about him as the trip progressed on, and they're talking amongst themselves. They're feeling like, oh, he's just biased against us because we're young and inexperienced. And, you know, he's like, no, I'm not. That's not what the issue is. But there was something going on brewing here that led to them drowning. Desperation. I do sense that whatever was going on medically, I think it was heavily affecting his emotions and mental state, and he was desperate. It's something very much tied to his self-worth that was being burned away, and he couldn't have that. Like, where everybody else was looking forward to a new beginning, his wife included, about, you know, what's next after they, you know, get off the boat and move on with their life. The deckhands, there was a sense where I'm sensing the pillar, the captain, was not so optimistic about it and was quite desperate. This also could just simply mean that someone did a desperate action, or it could mean that this is speaking to the other three occupants feeling desperate towards the end. So that's what I have here. I think that something happened, and I'm going to pose 5 quick tarot questions after we pause here for a moment, and then ask the questions. But I'm sensing that something happened with the pillar, who was supposed to be leading them, and in the end led them to a watery grave. I'm even starting to sense out that maybe there was a fire of some sort. I don't know. no. And I was thinking, oh, if there was a collision, as a lot of people speculate, a collision with a larger like a bigger ship that could have collided with them. But there's no evidence of that. There's no debris. No one really saw this boat. So it's interesting to me, or yacht. All right, I'm going to pause here so I can take a picture and then get the 5 questions I have ready to go. I'll be right back. Okay, so let us prepare for this next part. I thought I had 5 questions. I only have 4 for this one. So the first question, if Spirit would be so inclined to share with us, is what caused the Patanela to disappear, and what was the nature of the disappearance? We have the Ace of Water kind of almost sideways here. I do read reversals. What is the nature of the disappearance? Oh, wow. Wow. Illusion. 7 of Water. So Ace of Water, 7 of Water. So that is telling here, okay? Ace of Water. This is about an emotional situation, facing a new beginning. This is also about the actual body of water. So a sense that they had drowned, because that came up here with the water. Over here with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, we've got 2 water cards here. 2, if you know, cups, if you're looking at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. So it's the Ace of Cups, 7 of Cups, illusion. Someone following an illusion, someone living an illusion. And this also could be about disillusionment, okay? Maybe seeing something in just being, it was an overwhelming moment because you have so much before you. You see things off in the distance, and it's this, metaphorically speaking, you see things off in the distance where you could you may have to let go of things. You know, it happens when you have to file bankruptcy, for example, and rebuild. But there's a new beginning with that, right? The 7 here, the 7 of Cups, is about also, you know, seeing things physically in the water and things, you know, being more superimposed. Or it's just interesting to me. And you see all these different little rocks or what have you in the water ahead. It's like they're over here. And then these are the ships that are passing in that area. I guess that was a main little thoroughfare for ships, you know, that are carrying, you know, things. I can't even talk. But it's a major route that these ships travel. So it's almost like they're off to the side somewhere, closer to this area, you know, than what we think. And that's where they may have drowned and where they may have succumbed, with the Ace of Cups almost being in reverse here. I'm going to pull some Oracle and just see if there's anything else to illuminate to that question or to help us better understand. Lavender Fields. Yeah, it's that illusion. That illusion. Disillusionment. Denial. Purification. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know if this deck is going to give me anything, because this is corruption. Now, of course, some people be like, oh, it's corruption at the high levels of government. But Not all the time. Sometimes corruption, it could be small town. It's not always like this big, colossal conspiracy theory or, involving, a country's, highest level. Sometimes corruption could be amongst the group. Somebody had a corrupted mind because they were in denial. Purification. Corruption. Corruption ties in with that rat card over here, right? A traitor. Someone who's out for self, a disease. Someone who, loves the perceptions of perfectly neat rows in lavender fields to look forward to, but that's not really what's going on. Someone is in serious denial about the path that they're going on. They're in serious denial. And this card is so interesting to me. Why? Because you have to use fire to burn it. Purification. What did we have over here? We had the smoke card. We had the sage card. The water and the diamond. All about purity and purification. And so that's so interesting to me. We've got sage here and sage here. Someone needing to do something drastic because they couldn't face what was the new beginning, the new future that was at stake here with the Ace of Water. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. All right. Moving on. And so the nature of their disappearance is someone, a person, who was responsible, and I sense this has something to do with the pillar, the captain. I know some people may have speculated that maybe it was the young guys, the young crew members who may have had something to do with it. And ultimately, perhaps maybe they got defiant. We saw that earlier and wanted to fight him, but in the end, it was all for naught. They end up all drowning is what I'm sensing here. Okay. Are there any clues on where the yacht went or where is it located now? Father of Fire. Look at this. He looks Aboriginal or First Nation like. This is off the coast of Australia. It's just so interesting. Father of Fire. There might be a clue in the name, and I'll have to look at the maps. You all know how I do. I do a secondary behind-the-scenes review of the cards. Some of you all even help me out. You send me emails or messages or what have you in the comments about what your take is, and you might even be local to the area. This may mean something to you. Father of Fire translates to King of Wands. So Father of Fire, maybe even that name, there's a nearby beach or nearby beach town that has some, natives who look like this, or that they, Father of Fire, or something with fire in the name, and then we look and we are able to kind of map out things. So just interesting. Let's see if there's any other clues. The Magus, Magician. Any clues? Maybe a metropolitan area, not too far from that beach town. The Magician. Maybe somewhere they had been August 21st to September 20th. And so, I don't know. I'm just looking at it. It's got these major companies here. Facebook, Twitter, CNN, Fox, Botox, Pfizer, this for sale property, water bottles. It just feels like, I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll have to look and see how that translates. I'm not able to just, due to time's sake, I don't want to spend all day musing what that could be, because I also like to go to the maps, Google Maps. Of course, that fell to the floor. Clues on where, let's see what this is. River, That was the one that fell to the floor. River and covert. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I mentioned before, the magician for me is tied to 2 time periods, and the nearest time period to when this occurred was August 21st to September 20th, so the end of summer, or, well, it wouldn't have been the end of summer for Australia. You all are, that would be in the southern hemisphere, but it represents summer because I'm in the northern hemisphere. But it's the time period. Somebody, maybe someone of importance surrounding this situation, the town or the major area that they were at, who has a lot of native population. I guess maybe the whole country does. I don't know. I don't know if it's like the United States where there's little pockets of natives where they tend to be at. But nevertheless, right behind that little town or near that beach is a big metropolitan area, I suppose. And someone close to in the fore was in that area, and that's where the yacht, and I don't know how many nautical miles out. I guess I could play around with numerology here after the fact when I get a chance to sit with all the numbers that came up and see if we could maybe get some mileage. They use nautical miles, and in Australia they go by kilometers, even if they're not using nautical miles, whereas we use miles, or I guess is it knots? I don't know. Anyways, so summer, maybe somewhere that grows lots of sunflowers. That kind of ties in with that father of fire. Storm clouds, and I'm just kind of looking at this area. Sometimes I take in the clues of what the actual area looks like. Maybe a major body of water like a river flows near or through it, or it dumps out to where they are in that particular part of the ocean or sea. Tucked away, covert, a little stowaway. Okay. Why haven't searchers been able to locate the Patanela? Why haven't the searchers been successful in locating Father of Air? It's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of trying. It's because of what the pillar did. It's what the pillar did to prevent discovery. Yep. Buried. You have a lot of scholars looking deviant. I don't know. I get a no on that one. But you have a lot of scholars looking and searching for them, you know, for what happened. A lot of head power, and I know they did do massive searches probably when it first happened, but ultimately, even the greatest of minds with the Father of Air, is not going to be able to really truly find this vessel because of what I'm sensing led to the destruction of it. Somebody was supposed to remedy it. That came up in my MH370 reading I did last night, the healing card. And I shuffled this deck like 15 times. So I'm sensing that the person was victorious in their mission to literally have the boat buried in the waters. Like I had mentioned, it's like a watery burial site for the boat and for its occupants. And so even the greatest of minds who were all searching and thinking and pondering, you know, logical theories, at the end, the person was victorious in burying what it is that they did or what happened. There was this this person who was victorious was supposed to remedy the situation and instead buried it. I feel very much like someone had chosen this path, and I don't think he was all the way well. Okay, allegedly. I don't think he was all the way mentally well when choices were made. Emotionally, he was not well, and he made decisions, and he was victorious in accomplishing those, executing his plan to to destroy the boat, even if that meant a loss of life. It was almost like there's an intention about where the boat ultimately was lost at sea. Even that location, like this was not a man who didn't know what he was doing or hadn't traveled that stretch of waterways. I mean, I heard it was a lot of times that this particular Captain Jones had traveled, so he was familiar with it. He was familiar with the area. So it was almost like he was intentional. He thought about it, covert, tucked away, not right on that path where they would have been able to find him. And at first I was thinking, oh, maybe, like I mentioned before in the reading, maybe it would come out that it was a collision. It was a collision with another boat, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Some people would say the corruption is about maybe someone stealing the boat, but I don't get that either. I get the rat is telling us it's someone on the ship that turned. I feel like if it was the hag card, it would be about a bizarre malicious encounter. That might signal more of something else outside of the unit. But because it's a rat, I sense that it's because they're a part of the unit. And yeah, and I see this waterways, and here's where the yacht is, and so there's distance here, affirming for me that there wasn't a collision. I mean, supposedly the smoke could indicate some form of collision, but again, I'm looking at all the cards here to see if it tells paint a different picture. What is next in the search? Will we ever get any more answers? What is next? Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Four of Air in reverse. Let me see what fell to the floor. Four of Water. Okay. Well, the Wheel of Fortune is telling me that it's going to be a long, if ever we find out truly what happens. From time to time, things may eventually, I think probably all that's left to come up has come up. The debris that would be able to come up from the bottoms of the sea floor. I do sense that with the Four of Water that, there will be more information, more theories that really flesh out what really happened. I think there's also this sense that people may not want to accept that someone, the pillar, I'd like to call him, was in denial about something and wanting to purify and to get rid of this situation, not wanting to face the new beginning that was at hand. And so I think because of that, I think it was almost like driving that boat right into its watery burial site. And I do sense with the Four of Air in reverse, again, sitting next to these two cards, it's just these two cards are telling me no. We're never, it's never going to be where we're going to find out, that we're going to figure out what happened. But there's going to be something that loved ones can take comfort in, and to know, that, oh, the loved ones may have not, some people might have thought that it was hijacked or, something else happened, a collision that caused trauma. This feels something different, like the drowning. So I don't know if that's comfortable. And then there also could be somebody who dives with the Four of Comfort, and comes up with more, you know, bits of information, but it's the 4, so it's not going to be like the full picture still for a long time to come. All we really have is what we can meditate on too, with the 4 of water, 4 of cups. What we can contemplate what may have happened, and we all are not far off with what happened. It's just the sad thing is that this boat has completely disappeared into the waters. It was not taken. I sense that it was submerged, and or it sunk. So that's what I'm picking up on here. So that's all the questions that I have for the tarot with this situation. It's tragic, really. It's one of my worst fears or ways. The ways that I don't want to go is to drown. I nearly drowned when I was like 7 years old. It was very, very traumatic. And so, yeah, my heart goes out to them, you know, the captain, his wife, the 2 deckhands, you know. It makes me sad for, you know, Ken and Noreen Jones and John Bliss and Michael Calvin and their family and loved ones and friends. And, you know, hopefully we do get bits and pieces more of information that can come through. We hope and pray for that. But yeah, I sense that this was human intervention, and this was not just human intervention, but it was the captain that ultimately led to what happened. Let me know what you all think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you heard of this disappearance? What other disappearances, mysterious cases out there, whether it's planes or ships or other mysteries that have happened where it just really is confounding us? Leave a comment so I can be sure to add it to my list of future readings. Share with me your theories, what you think may have happened. What do you think these cards are saying? What are they saying to us? Oftentimes you all pick up on things that I don't pick up on right as I'm doing the reading. So thank you. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button. It really does help the channel, and I appreciate it ever so much. Thank you all for subscribing. I love that many of you have joined over in these last couple of months, and I welcome all my members. So thank you. Have a great rest of your night, day, morning, afternoon, and I'll catch up with you all in the next video. Bye for now.